Greetings, Lions Nation, and for those of you who are new to this rowdy crowd, I'm Lori Hendricks. I'm Chair of Physical Education and Director of Athletics. Let me welcome you to our annual first day of classes athletics gathering. So we are so excited to be welcoming the class of 2024 into our athletics family. Your enthusiasm, your energy, your talent, they are all great additions to what is sure to be a memorable and unforgettable year. So let me just set the stage of what this normally would look like and what you can expect in the future, class of 2024. We would normally be gathering at this time on the front lawn of Kendall Hall. The first day of classes having ended, our fall teams walking in from some pretty extraordinary practices, and we would be sitting in circles by teams on the front lawn, enjoying a veggie burger, cheeseburgers, hamburgers, just a huge family reunion. Lots of laughing, lots of cheering, lots of really bad singing. Hopefully some 80s tunes will be blasting. It's usually pretty warm and sunny and just the most spectacular way to start the new academic year. Now, it would not be right for me to open this year's virtual barbecue, acting as though this could easily replace our beloved tradition and that we are all okay with these circumstances. This year is set to be a crazy, crazy adventure. While there is much that we cannot predict, there is a great deal more that we can expect. This year, the academic year of 2021, is one with great weight and enormous responsibility. We are experiencing a moment in time that will define your generation. Just like the introduction of the World Wide Web, which was introduced during my time as a student at Mount Holyoke, the pandemic will set into motion changes to behavior, new employment opportunities, policy governing all sorts of things from childcare to athletics recruiting. We are living through a transformation of life as we know it. We also begin this year with an incredible responsibility to move past performative statements about Black Lives Mattering to seriously address the systemic racism embedded within and across society. We had already prioritized diversity and inclusion education within our department's strategic plan for the coming year. Let's also be clear that we must address anti-racist behavior in education. I was so proud to hear from many of you about the work that you and your teams were doing to initiate dialogue surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement. Not only were you staying connected and committed to one another and your training when the Black Lives Matter movement began again with strength and urgency, you collectively got together to have hard conversations. You raised funds for legal aid and campaigns to raise awareness. Problems and concerns are not ignored. This next year, we will be raising up issues within our department, the college, and our society to make them visible and to be able to address them directly. The new circumstances in which we find ourselves, learning, training, growing, communicating remotely, all will add another layer of challenge to these transformative times. We will need to embrace new ways of building our teams and building our athletics family. I know that each of you is up to this challenge. I look to support the agendas of our Student Athlete Advisory Committee, the Student Athlete Leadership Team, Coaches Council, and my administrative team in the work we will do this year. I am very excited for the creation of the first generation and ethnic minority student athlete group that will also provide leadership during this coming year. We have much work to do together this coming year, intellectually and physically. I suspect this awful pandemic has provided us, ironically, with a great opportunity. Lions Nation is scrappy. We thrive as the underdogs, and we catch off guard those opponents who underestimate our discipline, our will, our commitment, connections, and vision. Those programs that think they are only training for the spring this fall are missing the bigger picture. This entire year is setting the stage for a transformative decade. I am so thrilled that each of you are a part of this adventure, and we remain Lions strong. Now, I'm not the only one fired up for this coming year. We have a number of folks who would like to say a few words as we launch into this great new year. And let me start by welcoming a great advocate of Lions Nation, the Vice President of Student Life and our Dean of Students, Marcella Runnell Hall. Go get him, Marcella.
Hi, everybody. It's so weird not to be able to hear you, but I'm so happy to see your faces. It's been a very, very long summer of planning. And as you know, of doing and undoing and redoing and, you know, best laid plans continuing to shift. So I thank you for your patience with all of that. It is my absolute pleasure to be able to be here in this forum for this virtual kickoff barbecue. I hope you had a fantastic first day of classes if you started already. I can't wait to hear all about how the mods are going and how the different time periods are going. I know that the faculty were very, very excited. I was texting with lots of them this morning. They were very nervous as they were getting ready for their first day of you know, this new format. So a couple of things, I'll keep my remarks very brief. I just want to start by saying thank you to all of you for all that you do for Mount Holyoke to represent us as an institution. And, you know, I think that one of the things that is the hardest about all of this, as Lori said, what we've lived through in this pandemic has been difficult for a number of reasons. And there have been so many lives lost, and there has been so much upending of plans and other things. But for you all, this idea that, you know, you didn't, many of you, most of you didn't get to come back to campus this fall, and that the athletic competitions for the fall have been canceled. It's very, very difficult, and I know that. And so I just want to acknowledge, I'm sorry for that loss. I'm holding space for all the loss that has been sort of with our community as we've navigated this. But I just want to say I'm really sorry, and I know that was really perhaps unexpected, perhaps not, depending on how you were tracking all of this. But I want to acknowledge that, and I want you to know, as Lori said, it's so much bigger than that, right? So that I know how important the community building is and all the work that you do with your teams and your coaches. So I applaud that, I support that, I'm here for that, and I want to know always how I can do more to be more supportive of that. While I can't speak to tan horses at the Equestrian Center, I can speak to some other fun things that I think we should be excited about. So this is, like there will be many virtual experiences that are MHC special, but they will be online. And so some of those things will be like virtual MNCs. We did the whole orientation program online. We had Rio, I don't know if any of you were, I mean, not Rio, Disso last night. So that was a really big feat to do that online. I hope that the new students enjoyed it. We will have Rio online too, I'm sure. But we will be working on other things like convocation. So I just want to make sure that you all know, September 7th, there are two big Mount Holyoke things happening. Our very first, as far as I know, completely virtual convocation. So we're making history there. And then we also are going to be having Nicole Hannah-Jones come to speak about the 1619 project. And that is our common read for this year. So if you missed that announcement, I'm so happy to share that good news with you right now. And it is incredible that Nicole Hannah-Jones is going to be doing a special talk just for Mount Holyoke. So convocation September 7th, Nicole Hannah-Jones and the 1619 project also September 7th. And then stay tuned for many opportunities to build community, get involved, because as you know, this community is like none other. It is so special and unique, and really even through the virtual, I think we're going to be able to experience that together this year. And then the last thing that I'll say is a little bit about current climate and the movement for racial justice. For any of you who have been paying attention to the news today, you know that there was another really horrendous killing in Wisconsin, Jacob Blake. And so we will continue to advocate. We will continue to support the obviously BLM and all that is happening related to the social justice movements writ large, but we also have our own work to do at Mount Holyoke. And so the administration has been working all summer with the DEI office to come up with a comprehensive anti-racism plan. And that will be shared with the community in the next 2 weeks. So you will get to see it, you will get to offer your feedback, let us know where we're getting it right, let us know where we're missing the mark, where we need to do better, but we will all be engaged in that process, every single division, every area of campus. So I am excited that we get to do that together, but also, of course, really somber in mood today around that particular incident in Wisconsin. And so hearts and prayers and all the things that we can do to support those who are grieving that loss right now. So I want to just end by saying, and I'm sorry that I'm ending in a little bit of a somber space, but I want to end by saying I am really, really looking forward to this year. I know that probably sounds pretty wild considering all that we've gone through to do and undo and change the plans, but I'm really looking to connecting with all of you. One of the great things that I got to do last year was to have breakfast with the SAC leaders. I don't know what time zone everybody's going to be in, but I am open for a meal, coffee, whatever that will look like to continue those connections. And for any of you, my virtual door is always open. I would love to hear from you in ways that we can support you better. So thank you for representing Mount Holyoke in all the ways that you do. Congratulations on your first day of class. Welcome to the newest members of our community. And thank you, Lori and team, for inviting me to be a part of this. Thank you all so much. Looking forward to a great year.
All right, folks, we have another ringer that I'd like to introduce. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen the Princeton Review rankings, voted #1 in terms of our faculty was Mount Holyoke's faculty. We are the national champs in terms of having the best faculty. And this individual is an extraordinary supporter of all that we do. It is our faculty athletics representative. And let me introduce to you Kirsten Nordstrom, and she's going to share, especially for that class of 2024, a little bit about the role of the faculty athletics representative. So Kirsten.
So I am Kirsten Nordstrom. I am a professor of physics, but I am more importantly the faculty athletics representative for this department. So I do see some familiar faces, see some new faces. So great to see you if I know you, and feel free to virtually introduce yourself later if you want. And if you want to become a physics major class of 2024 or 2023, let me know. I can hook you up with that. All right, so I'm going to go over a few comments about like what I do, and then I'm also going to just share a few other remarks about kind of the time we're in, which is going to be focused a little bit locally and a little more globally. But again, I am the faculty athletics representative. The reason this position exists is because the NCAA wants to keep track of teams that have academic, violations, right? So got to maintain your certain team GPA, et cetera. That's not really an issue about Holyoke. So the faculty athletics rep does some broader things as well. So I am essentially a liaison between coaches, faculty, students. So basically, if there's an issue you have and you don't want to discuss it with your coach, you could actually reach out to me. You can find my email, just send me an email. If you're a coach and has an issue with a faculty member, you can also send me, I've gotten lots of those in the last year or so. And we can try to kind of hash out a compromise, because I have my own faculty perspective on some of these issues. Most of the issues are things like conflict with practice and whatnot, which may not be so relevant this fall, but in the future, just so you know, there's always going to be a faculty athletics rep that you can actually contact and might help you sort some stuff out. I've also been involved with trying to connect faculty to athletics a little bit more. Last academic year, we scheduled a successful faculty switch day where faculty and coaches switched roles for a week. And we were supposed to do that again this year, but obviously that got called off because that was scheduled for April. We were in the process of putting some, structure in place to do a faculty mentor program for teams. So that would be each team is assigned a faculty member. In theory, that will still happen in the future, but again, things are a little bit sketchy now. But if you have any ideas for how to boost faculty engagement, let me know. My email inbox is always open, because I literally cannot close it. I get some weird emails from people too. So if you're a physics professor, the number of weird emails you get is pretty alarming. People have some ideas, let me tell you. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about just also from the faculty perspective, how to kind of think about this semester. This is the FIT model, the flexible immersive teaching model. And I know this is weird, but we have really been having to work hard at this summer. So I think all of your professors have tried to really do their best. And I think in some instances, it's actually maybe going to be better than it would be in person. And in some, you have to be patient, but we have been working really hard to make this a great experience. The kind of really awesome part about this is this idea of immersive. Faculty in general are only going to have one class at a time they're focused on, and a limited number of students, and in a really accelerated pace. So this is going to be much more like a kind of boot camp experience. Even though we're not in person, I think you're going to get a lot more faculty interaction than you're even used to in kind of the face-to-face land. So be ready for that. Be ready to start off day one. It's a little bit difficult to get behind this year, so really be on top of things and really be engaged. And when your professor asks you to do something, please do it, okay? In theory, you have fewer distractions this semester, so just please, try to cooperate. We're really just trying to coach you academically, so remember that. The last couple things I wanted to mention, this is kind of more in the context of the semester. This is the FIT model of teaching, but remember to do things for your physical health because that's tied for your mental health. So I'm actually really happy in some ways that I'm teaching this mod in the evenings, actually this whole semester in the evenings, which means I get to go outside for periods during the day and actually go on runs or hikes or whatever, okay? So try to make sure you're doing something active as well. I know it's not as easy for everybody. I'm kind of spoiled living in Western Mass, so I can do that stuff, but there you go. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. The last thing I wanted to mention is that, yes, pandemics suck. Okay, there's no question about that. But what I want to leave you all with is I think what this has illustrated is that there are lots of problems in our society that some of us were very aware of and some of us were less aware of. And that does relate to, things like structural racism. It does relate to things like our healthcare system. There's a lot of different issues going on. I think what this has done is it has really ramped the volume up on those. And while I do not wish for a pandemic to happen in general, I think this has given us an opportunity to really think about those things And as Mount Holyoke students, I want to challenge you to think about not what you're going to do the next year, because this pandemic will be over at some point, okay? But what is your plan in the next 5 to 10 years? How are you going to perhaps think about how you can contribute in ever so slight a fashion to making the world a better place? And how are some of the tools you learn at Mount Holyoke through your classes or through your coaches, how are those going to help you achieve those goals? So that's, I'll leave you with. So that's all. All right, thank you.
Kirsten, thank you. Thank you for being at today's virtual barbecue, but thank you for always being there to support our student athletes, to support our coaches in all that we do, all that we aspire to. We know that we are both scholars and athletes at Mount Holyoke, and sometimes that takes some negotiation to be able to fit everything into our schedules and our lives, and you have always been there to support us. Candidly, I'm worried that I might have filled your inbox with many of those weird emails, but I'll check on that later. Thank you so much for being here, and we all look forward to being able to hike and run with you when we're all back together on campus. Let me introduce our next speaker. It is our Associate Director of Athletics for Programming, Erica Lem, and she has done an incredible amount of work this summer getting ready for this coming year. And then of course she redid it somewhere in June, and then I think redid it again sometime in late July. So Erica, I am so appreciative for you and for what you do to support us. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you now, Erica.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to see all of you, both new and familiar faces. As Lori mentioned, I'm Erica, Associate Director of Athletics for Programming, and I just want to take a few minutes to let you know what you can expect this year in terms of programming. So for those of you who are returning student athletes, you've been introduced to our Peak Performance and Leadership Academy. The Academy offers programming and development and wellness, performance, leadership, career, and community engagement in the form of signature events for class cohorts and other events, activities, and student groups. We believe that everyone is a leader, no matter their title or role on the team, and that's why we offer programming for every single student athlete. So this year's programming will look slightly different than our typical curriculum. You are already leaders, so as leaders, you know that we have to be flexible with our methods. Successful leaders accept and adapt to constant change and see the ability to manage change as a necessity. So this year's change in programming will allow us to focus on necessary priorities and effectively implement content in a virtual environment. This year, the Peak Performance and Leadership Academy presents programming focused on unity and connection, diversity and inclusion, career development, and leading through adversity. So what will this entail? Career development for all student athletes, including our transferable skills workshop, which consistently gets high reviews for helping apply and verbalize the skills you've gained in your sport onto your resume, cover letter, and within interviews. Seniors will be invited to a signature event that will allow them to both learn from and connect with significant student athlete alums in their field as they prepare to make the transition post-graduation. We'll also host mindfulness training sessions led by our very own head swimming and diving coach, Coach Allen, as well as drop-in talking, which is an informal opportunity for student athletes to drop in and have a chat with our liaison to the Mount Holyoke College Counseling Service, Devin Kelting. We'll also host multiple opportunities to attend virtual programming on the topics of mental health and wellness, diversity and inclusion, and leadership in conjunction with our conference, the NUMAC. This is not only an outstanding opportunity to learn and be engaged in these important conversations, but also a really great opportunity to meet and learn from student athletes at other institutions. And these sessions will be engaging and interactive. We'll also continue with our Athletics Littles and Bigs program, which we launched last year. So first years and juniors will have the opportunity to sign up in order to be paired with a little or big of a different sport. So please consider getting involved to get to know someone outside your team, welcome someone to MHC, and continue to keep our community strong and thriving even across sports while we're away from campus. I'll share ideas for topics of conversation and other ways to connect in a virtual environment. So for those of you who are looking forward to your cohort signature events this year, don't sweat. They'll be back and better than ever. For example, if you're a sophomore and couldn't wait to attend your DISC workshop and learn about your behavioral style, don't worry. We'll continue to host this workshop and other signature events next year, and you'll have the opportunity to attend the sessions with your cohort that you typically would have attended this year. So enough of that. Now our student athlete groups have also made significant plans for the year ahead, many of which you have the opportunity to get involved in if you're not already. We have 3 student athlete representatives who are going to share a little bit of information about the group they represent and continue to highlight our priorities for the year and how to get involved. So I'm going to introduce the groups and speakers in the order the groups were established. So first, I would like to introduce Sarah Bishop, Chair of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, or SAC, to share a little bit more about SAC and their vision for the year. Sarah?
Hi everybody, I'm Sarah Bishop. I'm a junior on the volleyball team, but I'm also your SAC chair this year, at least until January. And for those of you who don't know what SAC is, it's our Student Athletic Advisory Committee. And we are made up of an e-board and 2 representatives from each varsity team. And together we serve as a bridge between student athletes and the administration. Although this year is going to look a little different for us, as everything kind of is, our goals remain the same. And we are here to enhance the experience of our current student athletes as well as future student athletes. This year we've made diversity, equity, and inclusion one of our main priorities. In particular, we are looking to potentially add a DEI point person to the e-board of SAC or adding a subcommittee for DEI. So that diversity, equity, inclusion will be considered in everything that SAC does, not only this year, but hopefully forever. So that way, regardless of the coverage in the media, we're always considering DEI in everything we do. As well as DEI, we still want to carry out some of our goals that we normally have for the year, such as creating a community for student athletes and our community service. So we'll still be doing our things like our annual toy drive, as well as some other exciting programming, which you guys will be hearing about in the future. And I won't brush over the fact that this is a bummer, especially coming from fall sport. Like, I wish I was at campus right now practicing, but as athletes, we're trained to face adversity head on. And this is just a different kind of challenge. And we're lucky to have our teammates and our coaches and our community members to support us here. And SAC wants to be a part of that. We want to help you in whatever we can. So reach out to your team's representatives or to an e-board member if there's anything that we can do. So that way we can make your year as good as it can be, even if we're not on campus. So look out for each other, because that's what York City's all about. And yeah.
Sarah, thank you so much. You're absolutely correct. We're trained to face adversity, and we'll absolutely make this a great year. So thank you for your leadership. And I also want to thank all of our e-board members, subcommittee chairs, and SAC representatives. You play such a crucial role in the student athlete experience. And I'll mention that usually this group takes the summer off, but this year throughout the summer, to stay on top of challenges related to diversity and inclusion and COVID-19, they continue to meet. So if you're not involved in SAC and you're interested, talk to your head coach. The group runs on a calendar year basis, which Sarah mentioned, which means we'll be welcoming new SAC representatives in January. So next, we launched the Student Athlete Leadership Team last October, and I'd like to invite Julia Klein to introduce herself and share a little bit more about the group and her experiences. Julia?
Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I wish we could have had our usual athletic barbecue in the field house, but it's so nice to see you all over Zoom. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Julia Klein, and I'm a senior on the field hockey and lacrosse teams. Last fall, my field hockey teammates nominated me to be one of our captains for this season. And as a result of this new position, I was invited to join the Student Athlete Leadership Team, or SALT. SALT meets once a month and consists of the captains and team leaders from each of our varsity teams, as well as Erica Lem, our Associate Director of Athletics. SALT meetings are a way to develop camaraderie between teams and to develop leadership skills that are pertinent to our roles as captains and leaders. We also work closely with Erica to make sure that student athletes at MHC have the best experience possible. Through my participation in SALT, I've been able to brainstorm ideas to improve team cohesion, learn ways to work through common issues that can arise among a team, as well as help my peers to do the same. Each student athlete that is selected as a team leader or captain is invited to participate in SALT meetings, and I highly recommend that you take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you, Erica, for helping us run this group, and good luck to everyone on your academic and athletic endeavors this year.
Julia, you're so welcome. Thanks so much for sharing and for your leadership. And for those of you who don't know, Julia was one of 4 Mount Holyoke College student athletes chosen to attend the NCAA Career in Sports Forum this past summer. So congratulations, Julia. I'm looking forward to your continued leadership, and I can't wait to convene SALT very soon. So our last group, I'm actually going to let Coach Robson, head squash coach, introduce. I'm grateful for Coach Robson as well as Coach Carpio, head volleyball coach, for co-advising this new and very important group. Coach.
Thanks, Erica. I'm excited and grateful to have the opportunity to work with the first gen ethnic minority student athlete group, along with Coach Iris Carpio. This group got started back in January 2020 through the work of Michaela Pierce, class of 20 from field hockey, and Jaya Nagarawan Swenson, 22 of rowing, and Erica Lem. The first meeting was held in April 2020, and there are currently more than 20 student athletes interested in being involved in this group. I am honored to introduce Kaziva Kawashe Madungwe, class of 21, who is the leader of the group, along with Jaya from the rowing team. I have heard from the astrophysics pipeline that Jaya is returning from an MVP performance monitoring a telescope in Texas. Fortunately, Kaziva is here with us tonight. Kazi is a 2-year captain of the squash team, and she is the former cultural assistant of the Betty Shabazz House. So I am very much looking forward to her leadership of this group, and Kazi, please take it away.
Thanks, Erin. Hi, everybody. My name is Kazi. I am a senior on the squash team, and I'm just going to talk a little about the first gen and ethnic minority student athlete group. So this is a student-led group that provides student athletes that identify with one or both these identities an opportunity to form community of people that share these identities, as well as shared experiences. We recognize that many of us may be one of few or maybe the only student athletes of color and or first gen on our teams. So we plan on getting conversations started about diversity, equity, and inclusion as a group, as well as expanding that to our teammates. Well, this year we're definitely open to suggestions on how to engage and have events virtually. So if you have any ideas, please let us know. We have our advisors, as mentioned, Coach Aaron Robson of the squash team, as well as Coach Iris Carpio of the volleyball team, as well as Erica Lem. So if you'd like to get involved in this group, be on the lookout for an email from Erica sometime this week. Or if you missed that email, you could just contact Erica, letting her know that you'd like to be involved with this group. Thank you.
Kazi, thank you so much. This is outstanding. Really excited to see how this group grows this year. Appreciate your leadership and willingness to share. So please reach out to myself or any of our student leaders or coaches about any of the opportunities you've heard. As Kuzi mentioned, you'll soon receive an email from me about signing up for opportunities such as the Athletics Littles and Bigs program and the First Generation and Ethnic Minority Student Athlete Group. You'll also receive emails about other events and opportunities that you've heard today. So just so you know, these opportunities are only available to students who are currently enrolled, but if you're not currently enrolled, you'll be welcomed as soon as you are an enrolled Mount Holyoke student. So please reach out if you have questions or need support at any time. Have a great semester, and to our newest members of Lions Nation, welcome. I can't wait to get to know you.
All right, let me wrap this up. Folks, there are so many things that we have been working on this summer together collectively, coaches and student athletes, the administrators and faculty. We are really very much looking forward to a year that will have its challenges, but as Sarah said, adversity opens many doors for things that will be high reward, high risk, high reward, and they will do everything to bring us together as Lions Nation. John sent out, if I could put in a plug, one of the things that we've been working on for a while is our online store. So if you are needing a Yeah Yoke or an MHC face mask or other gear, it is now launched publicly on our athletics website. So I've already gotten emails and texts from our alumni base and families who couldn't be more happy to wear the Lions Nation gear and to show their pride in all that you all do to support it. So thank you, John. I also want to thank Kara Murphy, who were instrumental in moving that along and getting that done. Through a pandemic, they were able to work their magic and we were able to get it launched. So please take a look at that. I was a track and field athlete and cross-country athlete at Mount Holyoke. Whoop, whoop. And for those of you who know anything about track and field, the key to a strong race is getting out of the blocks strong and fast. And that's exactly what we intend to do, is to launch this year with great intention, with great humor. We must keep our sense of humor and playfulness because it is going to be an amazing ride. So I thank all of you for joining us. For those teammates who might not have been able to join us, who are in perhaps a different time zone right now, John is going to be working to put together some highlights so that we will be able to share with them this start of an extraordinary year. So I think that there is a way for me to be able to let everybody unmute themselves. So I think I clicked the button that you should all be able to unmute yourselves now. Is that working? Are people able to unmute themselves? Go ahead and do it because we're going to do a shout out to wrap this up. All right, I'll get us started. Ready? On 3, 1, 2, 3. Y-O!
Hey!
Y-O!
K-E!
Y-O!
K-E!
Lions. All right, folks. I will see you all in another Zoom. We might just show up outside your door. Everybody, have a great night, and we will see you all soon. Lions Nation strong.